Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And while you're at it, if you are sick and tired of spending $60 to $100 every year on the newest, latest, greatest wrestling video game, don't do it anymore. If you are a member of the Facebook family, pop over to Wrestler Unstoppable, a totally free wrestling video game alternative. Create your own custom wrestler, join companies, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, everything that you could want in a pro wrestling game, all for free on Facebook at Wrestler Unstoppable. And while you're at it, shoot over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Fro Wrestling Podcast to become a member of the Fro Wrestling Podcast family. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Fro Wrestling Podcast. We are broadcasting from the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance. They are located tonight in Zern's Farmers Market in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania, and they are putting on a great show tonight. The card is absolutely stacked. All the feuds, all the storylines that have been building for several weeks are coming to a head tonight. We have a World Championship match tonight. Two of their local talents, Ken Andrews and Slim Whiskey, will be battling for the WWA World Heavyweight Championship. Their High Impact champion, Leo Sweet, will be here, as well as one half of their tag team champions, Blitzkrieg. So there are tons of stars here, tons of matches. Should be a great show. Right now we've got Mike Goldstein and Jekyll in the ring right now. Mike Goldstein historically has been a heel, but tonight he has got the fans going as a babyface. Thoroughly confused everybody at first. Typically escorted to the ring by his valet, who is not here tonight for some reason. Kimberly Spirits, but hopefully she'll be back at his next appearance on the September 23rd at the Quakertown Farmers Market in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. But tonight, tons of action already so far tonight. If you are in the area, by all means, get here. It's a great show. If not, check out the Quakertown show on the 23rd. It should be fantastic. In the meantime, as we go through the show, I will touch on the day's news and rumors, the different stories that have been hitting the different websites, dirt sheets, everything, as we go through this WWA show. If you want to check out their talent, see what types of shows they have coming up, go to thewwwa.com and you can check out a list of their talent. Or if you want to go to my website, frowrestling.com, and we have a tab for indie talent booking, and many of the stars of Worldwide Wrestling Alliance or Susquehanna Wrestling Organization are located on that page. So we're going to get back to checking out the action here, and I will get you some of the news as we go through the show. We're going to start by talking about what's been going on in the world of incredible booking ideas at WWE. So for months now, we've been worried about what they're going to do at WrestleMania, and the frustration of the fans has been that it seems like just as WrestleMania wrapped up this past year, they already were looking at Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for next year's WrestleMania, and there's a lot of people who are not thrilled with that match idea. However, the conversation at least has been started about changing that main event in a whole different way. There's conversation now that the main event at WrestleMania could be changed to be a triple threat match between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and The Undertaker, making a return to WrestleMania. Very intriguing. It might be a bigger sell. I think people would be more into it. You'd be able to see The Undertaker again at WrestleMania, which of course everybody wants to see, but at the same time, you would have all that interesting storyline planning around the fact that Roman Reigns beat him at Mania. Brock has beaten him elsewhere. He's beaten Brock elsewhere. He really has never beaten Roman Reigns, so for him to get a win at Mania over Roman Reigns would be somewhat monumental. I don't expect that to happen. I would think if that triple threat match happened, it would be to really set Roman Reigns up as the man going forward, but we'll have to wait and see if WWE decides to pull the trigger on a feud like that. In addition, John Cena's booking has kind of shifted a bit. Now the conversation is if they don't go with that triple threat match, the match that everyone has wanted to see for years may be back on, The Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania, which would be a huge match, what we wanted to see this past year, but in a lot of ways it may be a benefit if that does not happen, because that didn't happen, because now you will have an Undertaker who, from all accounts, apparently is in much better condition than prior in WWE because he had the hip surgery that he needed for many, many years. He's apparently able to move around quite a bit better than he was in the past. He was in the ring during SummerSlam weekend, working out in the ring, getting things going, and now it looks like he may be set up for a Survivor Series feud, potentially going against either John Cena or Roman Reigns, which makes people speculate whether he'll be involved at No Mercy at all. Either way, the booking in WWE heading into what will eventually become WrestleMania season should get pretty interesting, and tons of topic for debate between now and then. I'll check back with you in a few minutes with some more action from the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance. We're back after a short intermission for the next match on the card, which for me is always a treat. We have a guy named Jameson Wyndham going against my personal favorite talent in Worldwide Wrestling Alliance, Ace Dallas, who, if you've never seen him perform, he has a character that is essentially the grumpy, almost Mormon-like minister who screams at the fans. He always wants the fans to praise him. It's hilarious. He's easily my favorite guy here. He's so entertaining, and he plays his role very, very well. I can't get enough of this guy. I'm going to get you back to some of the news from the week. This week, Evolve is actually putting together a storyline that I think is incredibly important in the long-term relationship between Evolve and World Wrestling Entertainment. So Evolve is doing an angle where the person who comes out on top of this competition will become an NXT extra for World Wrestling Entertainment at an NXT show. I think it's a way that Evolve is trying to establish a talent exchange of sorts with WWE show in WWE. But no matter what comes of this, I actually think the fact that they're even acknowledging WWE in their show and making them a focal point of their programming really speaks volumes for the difference in WWE now versus maybe 5 or 10 years ago. You remember what it used to be like. You'd tune into a WWE show, and no matter what was going on in the rest of the world of professional wrestling, they never talked about it. No one from another company was ever referenced. And then same thing for the other companies, an Evolve, a Ring of Honor, places like that. They don't typically like to talk about WWE if they can help it, but in this situation it's very much different. Evolve very much open to embracing the WWE brand and making that a part of their presentation. We know that William Regal, Triple H, and other talent evaluators have been at Evolve shows scouting talent. They've brought several Evolve stars to NXT in the past, so it'll be interesting to see where this relationship goes from here, to see if they can make this a little bit bigger. It would be really nice at some point to be able to see WWE contracting talent, perhaps the people in the NXT brand who are not getting on television, people in a performance center, if they could get some seasoning going to an Evolve show as opposed to the Evolve guys coming to WWE to get a little more exposure on a grander stage, maybe giving them some of that experience that one day would lead to a huge career on the main roster. So definitely something to keep an eye on. In addition, other news this week, Alberto El Patron always seems to pop up in the news every week, and this week it's about his return to GFW. There was conversation that after Jeff Jarrett left the company with his indefinite leave of absence, or whatever you want to call it, basically his separation from GFW, that he was a huge fan of Alberto El Patron's, that Ed Nordholm did not want Patron to be retained. There's the win for Ace Dallas. You can hear the fans respond to him. He's got such a negative following. It's great. But the idea being that Alberto El Patron was really someone that Jeff Jarrett wanted to keep around. Now that Jarrett is out of the picture, Alberto El Patron staying with the company seemed like it may be a long shot. But now they're saying that he is slated to return in November for their next set of tapings. There goes Ace Dallas screaming at the sinners around ringside. They're talking about him coming back to their next set of tapings in November. I wanted to say somewhere in the neighborhood of November 5th to the 8th or something of that nature. which would, originally the plan was he was supposed to work a program against Jeff Jarrett. There was also conversation of bringing in Rey Mysterio to work a program against him. That apparently is not going to happen because Rey Mysterio has broken off all his negotiations with Global Force Wrestling. Obviously, the company is not the most stable place to be anymore.
We're right here at Zern's Farmers Market.
Wow, that is
our next
so
match
loud.
Is scheduled for one fall.
And here comes our next match. I will be back in just a moment to continue this discussion on Rey Mysterio. Well, we just saw the conclusion here of the Molson versus Blitzkrieg match. So I want to get back to the Rey Mysterio topic, where reality is that Rey Mysterio usually is very much inclined to go where Alberto El Patron goes, but I think that with Alberto's suspension, the vacation of the GFW Championship, the issues with Jeff Jarrett, who Mysterio apparently gets along with very well, I think all those things put together have created a situation where Mysterio really doesn't have a guarantee if he goes to GFW. We don't even know if they're going to stay in business. They may be selling. The rumors are out there about this potential sale. There's a whole lot of different ways that this could go. So you got to wonder if WWE jumps back into the mix for signing Rey Mysterio. Now, I know he's doing very well for himself on the independent circuit. He's wrestling in Europe. He's wrestling in the Middle East and places like that, as I'm sitting here at this WWWA show getting ready to watch King Kalua take on Roadblock, who is a huge USA chanting local wrestler. Great guy, real funny guy to chit-chat with. King Kalua, always entertaining. This guy is he's got to be in his 60s, but he's as buff as it gets, still to this day. Ripped, tan, looks good, face paint, purple outfit, comes out to the ring to Dancing Queen, and really, he knows how to rile the people up. But anyways, back to the news. It would be interesting, I think, if WWE makes a play for Rey Mysterio, considering that he is so closely aligned with Alberto El Patron, and Patron obviously is not going to be going back to WWE anytime soon. Going to move on from the Rey Mysterio conversation and stay with the GFW news, because Ed Nordholm, the head of Anthem and their interest in Global Force Wrestling, has responded to the rumor that WWE would be interested in purchasing the tape library from Anthem for a substantial sum of money, and he has made it clear that that is not something he'll entertain, that he knows full well what WWE will do with that footage. He'll turn it into DVDs and he'll profit from it, and if that's going to happen, they just are in the process of launching their own network, their own streaming service. He'll maximize their profitability by using that same footage to do the same thing WWE is going to do, and I understand what he's saying. He's got stars like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Eric Young, all these guys who've gone to WWE and done very well for themselves. For WWE, it's probably worth more than it is to Global Force Wrestling. And the reason I say that is Global Force Wrestling, the entire tape library, if you were a diehard fan of their product, you've already seen it. Whereas a lot of WWE people don't necessarily have a lot of experience with Global Force Wrestling, with Impact Wrestling. Even when TNA was at its heyday, they still had pretty much a segmented niche audience. And so for WWE, you can capitalize on the exposure that you've given those talents when they got to WWE, and then throw the Impact Wrestling stuff in as like the caveat to everything you already have seen in WWE, and it makes it very exciting for people, because a lot of those fans, the more casual fans, or the ones who maybe know who the big stars in WWE are but don't follow the other companies, those people would be getting exposed to new matches, things they never realized happened before, watching AJ Styles and Samoa Joe tear the house down with Christopher Daniels and things like that. So I think it means a whole lot more profitability-wise to WWE, whereas I think Ed Nordholm is missing the fact that because they don't have those talents still under contract, and they don't have the same kind of exposure level that WWE does, that they're not going to be able to profit as well as WWE would, and it may be better for them, even more profitable, to go ahead and sell that library now. So we'll have to see how that progresses. In related, I don't want to say related to TNA Impact Wrestling news, but a former Impact Wrestling talent, former WWE diva, and we're talking about Christy Hemme. She's in the news today. Congratulations go out to Christy Hemme. She has announced her pregnancy. She is not pregnant, as she said in her Twitter feed, with one child. She's not pregnant with two children. She's not even pregnant with 3. Christy Hemme, that tiny little former diva, is now pregnant with quadruplets. God, Lord help her. But congratulations to Christy Hemme. It's a beautiful announcement, and hopefully everybody is safe, healthy, and happy all the way through the pregnancy. Speaking of female talents, the big to-do this week has all been about the 4 horsewomen of mixed martial arts going against the 4 horsewomen of WWE. It looks like there may be a plan in place to try to make that happen at the Survivor Series. 4-on-4. I think WWE would book it so that Ronda Rousey would come out as the sole survivor in that match if they were to pull the trigger on that. That would open up the door to a Rousey match at WrestleMania, probably with Charlotte, because that's been her biggest interaction, the biggest Twitter back and forth discussion and whatnot. I would love to see the match. I think many people would. I would not be opposed to seeing her with a Sasha Banks. I think that would be a great match. I wouldn't mind seeing her get up in the ring with Nia Jax, but Nia Jax not one of the 4 horsewomen of WWE, so that probably will have to wait until Rousey would make a decision to come to wrestling full time. But it will be very, very curious to watch the next couple of weeks, because the taping for the Mae Young Classic final will be this Tuesday. And on this Tuesday, when that happens, it is expected that the 4 horsewomen of mixed martial arts will be in attendance, and there will be some kind of interaction between them and the 4 horsewomen of WWE. So definitely keep your eyes on the Mae Young Classic finals. And speaking of the Mae Young Classic, to WWE's surprise, the Mae Young Classic, all episodes, are the highest rated and most watched programs on the WWE Network all week long. They are incredibly popular. They are super pleased with the results. And really, I don't know that they ever expected it to be this successful, but in the process, they have created something that I think, unlike the Cruiserweight Classic, I think they'll be more interested in retaining this concept and using a Mae Young Classic every year. It looked like they were going to do that with the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the tag team tournament. I'm hoping they go back to that, but they've kind of taken some time away from that. But this looks like it may be something they do every year, so definitely going to have to keep our eyes on that. And then finally, the last tidbit of news I want to get to in this episode, because quite frankly, I want to pay attention to the action in the ring as well, is Jeff Jarrett and Universal Championship Wrestling. So Jarrett is going to come out of his 1 week, 2 week retirement and go into a wrestling ring for Universal Championship Wrestling. They're holding an event. He will be in tag team action. But my concern is, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, but online you can find video of Jarrett at AAA's Triple Mania card where he was clearly drunk and out of shape and looked horrible. I shouldn't say that because I haven't given the guy a breathalyzer. Either he's the best actor in the history of artificial alcoholics, or he was drunk out of his mind. I thought the character went well, but he didn't do much in the ring. He looked very much out of shape, looked like he really shouldn't have been out there, and I think this is what led to his leave of absence when he was wrestling in that condition in front of Ed Nordholm, the head of GFW. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts taking more and more bookings now that he's no longer with GFW, and more importantly, because of the merger between GFW and Impact Wrestling, he really doesn't have anything else to do. And this may be his way of trying to generate interest in some other future projects. So, interesting things going on in the world of professional wrestling. We're going to keep our eyes on them. If anything materializes between right now and the end of this episode, I will definitely keep you updated. I have my eyes on the sheets all day, every day, and I will bring you the latest news and rumors as I can. For those who are ever interested in checking out the product that I'm watching tonight, Worldwide Wrestling Alliance runs shows every second and fourth Saturday at the Zern's Farmers Market on the second Saturday and Quakertown Farmers Market on the fourth Saturday of every month in Gilbertsville and Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Decent shows, good talent. They always put together an intriguing lineup. You should definitely check that out. It's very different. If you're a WWE only person, you really should get out and check out some of these smaller promotions. They have really good talents. You probably have never seen a lot of them, and you'd be surprised how good they are in the ring. They do a great job. They put on a great show. This match I'm watching right now with King Kalua and Roadblock, it's been going on a good 5-7 minutes, and they're still rocking it, and they're putting on a great performance. Kalua, I can't believe he's hanging in the ring at his age. He's been doing this so long and still looks so good. He looks amazing. But definitely, if you get a chance, shoot into one of these shows. And if you're not in this area, that's fine. Check out whatever promotion you live near. Don't just stick with WWE only. Check out these smaller promotions. I know in Central Pennsylvania, I have become a huge fan of Susquehanna Wrestling Organization. They share a lot of talent with Worldwide Wrestling Alliance, and that is another show you should check out if you're in Central Pennsylvania. But it doesn't stop there. And for anyone who listened to the Donovan Dijak interview that we put up earlier today, he will be the first one to tell you independent wrestling is where it's at. Because WWE has so much scripted. Oh, big move. WWE has so much that's scripted, so much that doesn't have great long-term planning. And in a show like this, you can really get some great action. King Kalua picking up the win. Wow, what a great match. So, as we're here, I do have a little bit of news coming up. It looks like tonight, Wrestle Circus has been presenting one of their shows. If you've never seen Wrestle Circus, very unique presentation, very different product. Tonight is their Texas versus the World watch party, where, you know, they've got great matches. Keith Lee is going to be taking on Scorpio Sky tonight. Tessa Blanchard's there. Jay White versus Sammy Guerra. Brian Cage versus EC3 is the big one, and that match just ended. And Brian Cage comes out on top of EC3, which is impressive considering EC3 is such an established star on Impact Wrestling. Brian Cage, huge on Lucha Underground. It's awesome whenever you get to see these talents from different promotions really get an opportunity to work with each other despite the fact that they're on television on rival companies. So, very cool match. Brian Cage versus EC3. I'm looking forward to getting a replay from Wrestle Circus tomorrow and checking that out myself. If you have not ever seen Wrestle Circus's product, by all means do that. They put together some really good shows. And New Japan held their Road to Destruction card. This is a multi-night event. Tonight it was night 3. Tons of stuff to talk about on the card, but for me, the big thing is they really find a way to incorporate all of their top stars in matches, so you don't go home wondering where somebody was. You know, there's nothing like going to a Raw where Braun Strowman's taking on the Big Show, and you have no opportunity to see Brock Lesnar, or Roman Reigns has a match and John Cena's not there, or whatever. In their shows, it is not like that. Tonight, 10-man tag team elimination match. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kushida, Michael Elgin, Ricochet, Rizuchi Taguchi defeat Suzuki Gun, El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki, Tai Chi, Takahashi Iizuka, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I mean, this match, this is not something that you would typically see in the WWE ring, 10-person elimination style match, but it puts 10 talents out there so people don't go home unhappy not being able to see all the people who represent that brand. You had Evil Sonata and Tetsuya Naito on the card, taking on Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano, which was huge. So you always... Oh my goodness, I think the ring almost collapsed on that move. That was incredible. You get to see all the top stars. Dave Finlay and Juice Robinson defeating Chase Owens and Leo Tonga. I mean, just matches all over. Rocky Romero and Will Ospreay defeat Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. War Machine and Toji Makabe defeat Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, and Taka Michinoku. They had the Bullet Club there. Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Yojiro Takahashi, as they fell to Team Chaos. Trent Beretta, Hiroki Goto, Jado, and Yoshihashi. So you find a way with these multi-person matches to put as many stars on a show as possible, which is huge because in WWE you don't get that. Every week we're missing somebody. So definitely some cool stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling tonight all around the globe, whether it's New Japan, Wrestle Circus out in the Midwest, or even here in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania for Worldwide Wrestling Association. Awesome night of wrestling action. That's all the time we have for this episode, but check back with us next episode. We'll run down all the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all the music and sound effects used in today's show. Today's podcast is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this new game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the link in the middle of the page. And to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. Be sure to shoot over to our website at frolifeplanning.com for anything related to higher education, whether that's college, university, you want to get additional training so you can get a new career path, Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. A special thanks to the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance for their show tonight in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania at Zern's. Make sure you check in with us on September 23rd at the Quakertown Farmers Market. Come see the show. We'll be there podcasting again. Don't miss out on such a great opportunity. These are some great talents at a great price and a really unique presentation. So come check that out. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.